This is a sports catastrophe production. Hey there, how there, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another sports catastrophe birthday boy. I didn't really have much to go on for birthday boy. I could have done Yohan Santana and I could have done Tristan Thompson, but I decided to go with this guy. Very underrated in my mind. Will the Frill Clark played in the major leagues from 86 to 2000. He was for San Francisco, Texas, Baltimore, and St. Louis. He was Player of the Year in the NCAA baseball for Mississippi State and played at the 84 Summer Olympics. 6-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger winner, a Gold Glove winner, and the NLCS MVP in 1989. The Giants were going to retire his number, but because of COVID, they didn't. So anyway, Will Clark played high school baseball and then was drafted in the 4th round in the 1982 draft by the Kansas City Royals, but he chose not to sign for some reason, which was weird because, he grew up a Kansas City Royals fan and was drafted by the Royals. Anyway, he went to Mississippi State to play for the Bulldogs. And, he looked okay and all that. He played for the U.S. national team in the 84 Olympics and led the team in batting average and home runs. Now, baseball was not a medal sport, so it was more of a demonstration sport in 84. Will Clark was actually a teammate of Rafael Palmeiro, and basically, Mississippi State had some good hitting and all that. San Fran, when they had a chance to draft Will Clark out of college, decided to draft him 2nd overall in the 85 baseball draft. Now, the baseball's draft is not as highly prolific as the other drafts like basketball, football, and hockey. Like, there were a lot of rounds and all that. The first round was actually huge, as B.J. Surhoff was drafted 1st overall for the Milwaukee Brewers from the University of North Carolina, and Will Clark was drafted 2nd from Mississippi State. Bobby Witt was a 1st-round pick. Barry Larkin was a 1st-round pick. He went 4th overall to Cincy. Barry Bonds was picked 6th. Peter Incaviglia was picked 8th by the Expos, but he didn't want to go to Canada. Walt Weiss was 11th. Brian McRae went 17th. Greg Jeffries went 20th. Rafi Palmeiro went 22nd. Boy. Some teams really didn't want to try it. Like, teams like Minnesota and Philly botched getting him. Joey Cora was a 1st-round pick. So, yeah, so basically, it was amazing and all that. For the 1st-round pick. So, anyway, in his first major league at bat to start the 1986 season, he hit a home run off Nolan Ryan. And he actually hit a homer in his first home game at Candlestick Park in San Francisco. He wore number 22 for the Giants because, he debuted at 22. Yes, sir. Will Clark ended up being the starting first baseman for the NL All-Star team every year from 88 to 92. And in 88, he was the first Giants player to drive in 90 RBIs in consecutive seasons since Bobby Mercer, 75-76. Great. Will Clark ended up being 2nd in MVP voting in the National League behind his Giants teammate Kevin Mitchell, who basically just had one decent season. And Will Clark, unfortunately, lost the batting title on the final day of the year to Tony Gwynn of the Padres. However, Will Clark would be famous for what he did in the NLCS against the Chicago Cubs. Clark hit a home run in Game 1, and then he saw from the on-deck circle that Will Clark read the lips of Greg Maddux saying fastball high inside, and Clark hit a grand slam onto Addison. That was actually a catalyst for pitchers beginning to cover their mouths with their gloves while having conversations on the pitcher's mound. That's kind of neat. Chicago's front page story said that Clark's night on Addison, because Clark was a famous street in Chicago as well. Will Clark got the winning RBIs to clinch the NLCS for the Giants in Game 5 off Mitch Williams. Yes, he was with the Cubs at that time. Clark had a .650 batting average and 2 home runs in the LCS, and he was named MVP. Unfortunately, though, Will Clark suffered at the plate in the World Series against the A's. But the A's were that good. No RBIs, a .250 batting average, and he had tonsillitis. Clark was a very durable player. He once set the Giants record for most consecutive games played with 320. That's almost 2 full seasons. However, injuries reduced his playing time and diminished his production. Clark would leave the Giants in '93 for Texas. Ironically, Texas needed to replace Clark's former Mississippi State teammate Rafael Palmeiro at first base. Palmeiro went to, I would like to say Baltimore, but I might be wrong. But anyway, Clark made the AL All-Star team and had a .329 batting average. But injuries would limit his time, even though he would lead the Texas Rangers to AL West titles in '96 and '98. But the postseason, he struggled. The Rangers got Palmeiro back following the '88 season. Basically, Clark was done for. So he signed a 2-year deal with the Orioles in '99, replacing Palmeiro. Oh yeah, Palmeiro did go to Baltimore. Again, replacing Palmeiro, who left Baltimore to go back to Texas. So basically, Clark spent their 2 years in Baltimore and was plagued by injuries. But at the trade deadline, the Orioles needed to trade him. And they traded him to St. Louis because St. Louis needed someone to replace Mark McGwire in the lineup. And Clark did pretty well for himself. 12 home runs, 42 RBIs in 51 games with the Cardinals. And he didn't struggle in the playoffs. Well, in the NLDS he didn't. He had 4 RBIs against the Braves. And Clark did decent against the Mets in the NLCS, but the Mets won and went to the World Series. He would retire at the end of the year. He was named to the College Baseball Hall of Fame in 2006 and the Bay Area Hall of Fame in 2007. The Giants would retire Clark's 22 during the 2020 season, but because of COVID, that would probably be for next year. So that's not bad. His final stats: 303 batting average, 284 home runs, 1,205 RBIs. So yeah, I would remember him fondly for the 1989 NLCS. Basically, his battles with Mark Grace and helping the Giants get to the World Series. Sadly, though, he didn't get the World Series title. So anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I'll do